Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I just got done filming another video about why you should never get a tarot reading while you're heartbroken and how dangerous it could be. And I just wanted to kind of make a continuation of that video in this one, where we will be talking about how tarot and astrology can be somewhat dangerous if you don't use it the correct way. And I just wanted to talk about how you can use it the correct way, because there is a right and wrong way to use it. Okay. Or I should say there's a safe and unsafe way to use it. Okay. So the title of this video is going to be, are astrology and tarot demonic? And the answer to that is yes, sometimes, because like I just said, you could use them for the wrong reasons. And I'm going to explain to you what I mean by demonic. So if you look on the screen, you will see a vibrational frequency chart. And look at pride. You see where pride is on the chart, and down to shame. That is considered, or that section of the chart is considered your lower vibrational emotions, right? Now, I do want to give the disclaimer that lower vibrational emotions are not necessarily bad. They're just indicators of how you're feeling at the time. But if you stay stuck there for too long, then yes, it can be very detrimental for you. So, whenever someone says that something is demonic, that's how I describe demonic energy, as being stuck on a lower vibration for too long. So, everything below pride, if you're stuck there too long, then that would be considered demonic to me. I know that demonic means different things to different people, like especially people who are religious, but to me, that's what demonic is. When you are stuck in those lower emotions for too long, to the point where they start to make you spiral out of control mentally and emotionally, and they start making you take action that is not for your highest good. So, if you apply what I just said to the title of this video, then that means that tarot and astrology can be demonic if they keep you trapped in these lower vibrational emotions. And it's very easy for that to happen. And I'm going to explain why. So, tarot and astrology are often used to predict the future. Not always. I'm not saying that people solely use it for that, but a lot of the times it's being used to predict the future. And if you are in an emotional state, if you are in like a state of heartbreak, you just experienced some type of loss, right? You are very vulnerable. And if you hear a future prediction that is negative, it can really plummet you into these lower vibrational energies, and it can keep you there for a long time. Let's say that you go to a tarot reader and you ask them a question and they tell you that something horrible is going to happen to you, right? I'll just give the example that I gave in my last video. Let's give the example of you're heartbroken, you want to get back with your ex, so you ask the tarot reader, hey, you know, am I ever going to get back with my ex, or is my ex going to come back to me? And the tarot reader goes, no, not only are they not coming back to you, but they are already with someone else and they're going to end up marrying that person and living happily ever after. How is that going to make you feel? Where is that going to drop you in this vibrational frequency chart? It's going to probably put you in a state of grief, put you in a state of fear, desire, anger, shame. It's going to make you spiral out of control. And the crazy part about that, and I mentioned this in my last video, is that that tarot reader could very much not be telling the truth, or they could be inaccurate with their prediction. And that's why I say that tarot readers, or tarot readings, and astrology as well, because astrology can be used to make predictions as well, can be demonic, because they'll tell you this future prediction and it'll plummet you into this lower energy, even though that future prediction may not even be accurate. It may not, because at the end of the day, when it comes to tarot, at least, future predictions are not set in stone. They are just potential timelines. So it's the potential of what could happen, but the future is not written in stone, because humans have free will. So whatever humans do using their free will, it is going to determine what happens in the future. So just because in a reading it comes up that someone's going to end up married, something could happen in that person's life where they swear off marriage, and now that future prediction will not come true. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to tarot, that reader could be misinterpreting the cards completely, or they could be giving you a future prediction that they do see, except they're saying it as if it's a fact when it's not, when in reality the future is fluid. So again, that's demonic, because how is that helping you in any way, shape, or form to move forward? It's not. It's not. It's just keeping you stuck in these lower vibrational energies. Okay. And the action that you might take after you learn this, it's probably going to be a lower vibrational action. You're probably going to reach out to the ex. You're probably going to go and stalk the ex on social media, see if you can find any clues, see if you can find out who they're dating at the moment. It could really um, trigger your abandonment and your rejection wounds. Like you could go out and do something very harmful to yourself because those wounds are triggered. You see what I'm saying? And I'm I'm using tarot as the example for that, but again, it applies to astrology as well. Astrology and tarot are a little bit different. Like tarot is based on your intuition, and astrology is not really intuition based. Like there's a certain way that you read astrology that's not as fluid as tarot, but astrology predictions are not always like written in stone either, and they're not always interpreted. Put it this way, the way that an astrology transit is interpreted may not come to pass in the way that you think. So for example, like let's say that the moon is transiting your fifth house, right? And your fifth house is the house of children. That could be interpreted in a couple of different ways. Like the moon could be impacting an area of your life that involves children, but the fifth house is also creativity. So it could be impacting a part of your life that involves creativity. So you could be having like some sort of thought in your mind that the moon transiting the fifth house is going to impact your child negatively or impact your child in some way, but then that never happens. It ends up impacting your creativity because the fifth house is not just children, it's also creativity as well. You see what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. It's like it's so many different ways you can interpret astrology, or like different houses rule different things, different planets rule different things. It's like there's no way of you really knowing exactly what's going to happen. You can have an idea of what's going to happen, but there's no way of really knowing. Okay, I'll give an example, and I have permission to use this example, by the way. So there was someone who I was associated with, right? And this person got cheated on. And again, I got permission to share this. So this person got cheated on, and during the time when they went back and saw the timeline of when they got cheated on, the transits matched up with pregnancy. So they became extremely fearful that not only had they been cheated on, but that the mistress might be pregnant because the transits lined up perfectly with pregnancy. And so this person was literally sick with worry that the mistress was going to be pregnant. And it's crazy because she actually had left the guy already, but it's like she still had an attachment to him. And one of her fears was just that she was going to find out that not only did he cheat, but that he created a child while cheating. And that would have just been devastating for her because it's like a double whammy. You know what I'm saying? I know some people might hear that and be like, oh, does it matter? You left the person already. But it mattered to her because to her, it's like she was already grief stricken, you know. And it was like, if I find out that a child was conceived from this as well, like it's just going to hurt even more. So anyway, it turns out that the woman, the mistress, was not pregnant, and so she was living in this fear because of the fact that the transits lined up with pregnancy. But it turned out that the mistress was not pregnant, so she was like fear and like just just heartbroken and hurt and expecting the worst based off of an astrology transit prediction that turned out not to be true. So she was in a lower vibrational state from something that turned out not to be true. So she went through that pain for no reason, pretty much, or the excessive pain, like the extra pain for no reason. So that's what I mean when I say that That's what I mean when I say that astrology and tarot can really put you in a lower vibrational state, and therefore it can be demonic. So my suggestion would be that if you are going to get a reading, whether it be tarot or astrology, be very intentional with the questions that you ask. Make sure that you are asking questions that are going to move you forward and help you heal, and not asking questions that are going to send you spiraling. Like, don't ask questions about the other person that you're trying to detach yourself from. You know what I'm saying? And I'll even take it to the extreme and say, just don't get any future predictions at all. Just don't ask anything about the future. Just ask about the present, how you can process things in the present moment. You can even ask about the past, like how to process things from the past so that you don't, make the same mistakes, or you don't end up in the same cycle, and you can move forward. Use it for that. Like, use astrology and tarot as tools of comfort, for clarity, and for just processing what you're going through right now and how you're able to overcome them and move forward with them. Don't use them to really put yourself in a worse state by hearing things that you really don't need to be hearing when you are already in a vulnerable state. So that goes for watching tarot readings, watching astrology predictions, and personal astrology predictions and personal tarot readings. Just stay clear of them if you can when it comes to future predictions when you are in a highly sensitive state, and only use them to get to know yourself on a deeper level, to understand the situation on a deeper level in a way that will move you forward, not in a way that's going to make you spiral and keep you stuck. And that's why you want to make sure you are, if you are going to get a reading, that you're going to someone who is aware of everything that I'm saying, so that they know the best way to guide you. You see? And no, my readings are not open right now. For those of you who have been asking, they are going to be open soon. I'll make an announcement for everyone who has been asking. But yeah, I just had to plug that in there. But yeah, that's all I really had to say. Just be very mindful when you are in a emotional state, when you are in a sensitive state, when you are feeling heartbroken, because yes, tarot and astrology can be demonic and can put you in that lower vibrational state, because it's not the tools, it's not the astrology, it's not the charts, it's not the cards that will put you there. It's the person that's using them that could put you there, especially if you're someone who you have like a specific life purpose, or like you have a very important life path. You really want to be careful, because I talked about it in my last video. Go to my last video about never get a tarot reading while you're heartbroken. Go watch that video, and I explained more about this. I don't want to get too much into this, but if you had if you have a specific life path, or like a very important life purpose, you definitely want to be mindful of the tarot readers and the astrologers that you're going through, because they could be working for certain entities to keep you off that path. And again, you can go ahead and go to my other video, and I explain more there. Okay, so if this part of the audio sounds slightly different, it's because I was editing this video and realized that I left out a couple of things that I just wanted to add to the end of this. So, in terms of astrology, and like I mentioned before, how it can be fear inducing and how it can be low vibrational, I wanted to just add in that when there are certain transits happening, like for example, when there are Mercury retrogrades, you'll see a lot of people being very fearful. Like, you'll see all over the internet, people are like, oh, Mercury retrograde's coming. Oh, it's going to be a disaster. Like, Mercury retrograde has just gotten a really bad reputation. It's become more well known. And so it has just gotten kind of a bad reputation, which I understand, because Mercury retrogrades, they do bring up the past, and sometimes the past is unpleasant. But if you go into a Mercury retrograde with this level of fear, you could end up doing certain things that make your life more difficult than necessary. Because when we are acting from a place of fear, and we are taking impulsive action from a place of fear, that could end up derailing our lives. And also, even if you don't take action based off your fear, just the fact that you're living in fear is not a good thing. Like, it lowers your vibration. It's very detrimental to you emotionally, mentally, and physically. So it's okay to feel fear, but to be experiencing it for a long stretch of time because you're anticipating that something bad is going to happen based off of an astrology prediction, that's not good. So I wanted to add that in just to further prove my point about how predictions can be fear inducing. And we see that on a large scale with the way people treat Mercury retrogrades. Now, also, I wanted to add in that a lot of the time when people study their birth charts or when they just become aware of their zodiac sign, I'll notice that sometimes they'll resonate with the negative traits of the sign and they'll allow that to put them into a box. And that's not good because your birth chart shows you, your birth chart shows you your energetic imprint, right? But it should never limit you. You are a limitless being. Just because your birth chart says that something is more difficult for you or that something doesn't come to you as naturally or it shows some negative aspect of yourself, that doesn't mean that you shame yourself for it, put yourself in in a box, and then don't allow yourself to flourish. Like, for example, I have Leo Chiron in my chart, right? And because of that, when you look up what Leo Chiron means, it means that we could have a more difficult time expressing ourselves creatively. And also, when we do express ourselves creatively, we could be very undervalued, meaning people don't see our worth or value when it comes to our creativity, and we have a harder time getting applause for it. Now, I could take that and say, okay, well, I never want to do anything creative because what would be the point of that if I'm not going to be acknowledged for it? If people are going to give me a hard time for it, if I'm going to be overlooked, then I'll just take on the identity of I'm just not creative, and then just never put out anything creative, never chase a creative hobby or a creative goal. You see what I'm saying? Like, I could easily just put myself in a box based off of that aspect of my birth chart, but I choose not to, because these things in our birth charts, yes, they're showing us certain aspects of ourselves, but we can always overcome those things. We could always elevate past those things. Like I said, we are limitless beings. So you're never supposed to limit yourself based off of your birth chart. And another example I can give is when, people, they want to be famous, right? They want to be well known. They want to be in the spotlight. And so they'll come and they'll ask, like, is there anything in my chart that says that I'm going to be famous? It's like they need their chart to validate that this goal or this dream that they have is going to happen. Like, if I were to tell them, yeah, there's like a crazy amount of things in your chart that say that you're going to be famous, they'll be like, okay, good. And it'll give them all this motivation to go and pursue their dreams. But if I tell them, no, there's nothing in your chart that indicates fame, then they would take on the mindset of like, oh, well, maybe I just shouldn't even try. So do you see how that's letting your birth chart dictate your dreams, your goals, and your future? And it's dictating who you are as a person. Yeah, that's very low vibrational. That puts you in the vibration of fear, the vibration of shame, and things of that sort. So that's another way that you can use your birth chart or use astrology in the wrong way, and it can actually hold you back. You see what I'm saying? So I just wanted to add that in just for everybody to just be mindful of these things so that you can use astrology in a positive way and you're not using it to limit yourself, or you're not using it in a negative way that's going to lower your vibration and put you in emotional turmoil. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to add onto this video. So yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.